This is Pete Porker. I'm from a band called the Porkers. We've been around for a while. We're currently doing a tour. It's the Hot Dog Daiquiri 25th anniversary tour. That was our album that we released in '98, which is actually 26 years ago, but we're doing the 25th anniversary tour this year. And we've already done Queensland, and this weekend we're heading to Victoria, and we've got Sydney and all sorts of places after that.
Beautiful, brother. Thanks for joining us today.
That's all right. That wasn't that smooth, but anyway.
Better than what I would have done, bro. I'm fucking useless.
Cool.
So as you say, man, the Porkers are partway through a run of dates around Australia, celebrating 25 years of your loved album, Hot Dog Daiquiri. Like, how the show's been going so far?
Pretty crazy, pretty crazy. You can probably tell by my voice that last weekend shows were pretty hectic, and I've come home with a good dose of the flu and a sore throat, and tomorrow we're off to Melbourne. Yay!
Yeah, hey. And that next show is on March 21st in Frankston, bro. Then you wind through Melbourne, Canberra, Newcastle, and Sydney areas before finishing Cronulla on March the 23rd. Like, I'm no good at maths, bro, but if the album's 25 years old, that's got to put you guys at least 31. So that's a lot of shows for us old fellas.
Yes. That was actually one thing I said on stage at the weekend. After we completed a couple of songs, I went, these songs were written for a much younger man to sing. So, it's been a bit of an effort, been a bit of a long effort. Yeah. Because Hot Dog Daiquiri was our second album. So we had a few years before that.
Couple of years experience?
Couple of years experience.
So on that factor, like that age factor, mate, because we are all getting older, whether we like it or not, like, do you have to compensate at all during your live shows because your body's screaming at you saying you just can't do that anymore?
Absolutely. I'm nowhere near as fit as I used to be. I'm currently not match fit at all, and I am suffering the consequences of a frivolous younger life, and things are starting to catch up with me a bit. And I think it was about 7 years ago now, I had a stroke and ended up in hospital, and then ended up having to have heart surgery, and everything's just been more effort since then. But they told me when I left the hospital I was going to feel like $1 million. I was going to feel like a new man, but no, I've just felt tired.
Yeah, right. And how do you go on stage, man? Like, is that in the back of your head that you can't go too hard, otherwise you might?
Yeah, I've got a old, not in the back of my head that I can't go too hard that I'll die, but it's in the back of my head that I've got to make it to the end of the show and I've got to pace myself. And it's usually when we get to our last song, I know, okay, I can make it now. the goalpost is in sight, so I usually spend whatever I've got left in that last song. So.
And then you got people out there screaming, one more, and you're like, I just haven't got it in me.
No, well, no, I save that. Yeah. It's not the actual sorry. Yeah. I've already told them it's the last song by that point. So I know I'm not coming back. and that's another thing. The Porkers, we don't do encores. We get to a certain part of the set, and I ask the people, do they want some more? And if we get a half baked yes, we go, okay, then we'll do some more, because we can't be bothered walking back there and coming back and having a wank.
Now, how's the structure of the night, mate? Like, are you playing the whole album start to finish, or just select songs?
No, we're playing the album start to finish. There was a couple of little novelty fill-in tracks that we're not doing, but the bulk of the album, start to finish, in order. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, cool. How do you go with that, man? Like, when you wrote it all those years ago, like, I don't think you would never have imagined that you were going to have to play the whole thing. So is it difficult to sort of get it feeling right, I guess?
It is, and also too, um, it's a reasonably long album compared to our normal set. So by the time we do the whole album and a couple extra songs, it's a good 20 minutes longer than we'd usually even play. 20 minutes, half hour longer than we'd normally play. So it's like, and so, and yeah, as I said, the album was written for a much younger man in mind, because a couple of the first songs go pretty hard. By the time I get to the fourth one, which is needs a lot of effort, I'm just going, holy shit. uh, so yeah, it's yeah, not as easy as it seems.
No.
But,
And how are the songs going down live, man? Like, have they stood the test of time?
strangely enough, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few that we haven't really played much over the years, and they've been the most fun to play because they're kind of new and fresh, and people are going, oh, never ever thought I'd hear that one live. So and it's kind of been, oh, that was a fun one to play. Yeah. So that's been really good, and yeah, and one or two of those as well have just been like, wow, that's actually a really good song. Wow. So surprising yourself, just going, yeah, that's kind of cooler than I remember it. So
I could imagine your fan base would have a pretty twisted sense of humor, bro. So over the years, has anyone ever brought you in a hot dog daiquiri?
no, not as such, but we had a man naked on stage with us in Brisbane last Friday night, and and let's just say it's not the first time he's done it. So um, a hot dog daiquiri of sorts. No one's actually done that. So, but
Wow.
yes,
I can imagine it tastes like shit. Like there'd be no point in doing it, but
no. But the story for the original title was we didn't have a title for it, and we're on the Vans Warp Tour in '98 here in Australia with Pennywise, and one day Fletcher from Pennywise was threatening to get some what is it, some of some of the cold meats we had backstage, and he was going to put them in a blender with some alcohol and was going to make a hot dog daiquiri.
right, and it's
uh,
stuck.
can't say whether he actually did or not, but we went, that's the album title.
Things you do backstage, eh?
Yes.
Like if you made an album title out after shit you did backstage, mate, it'd have to come with a fucking R-rated label.
Yes, it would.
So what are some of your best memories of making that album, bro?
Oh, so many. It was done over a few months and at different times, and also purchasing overnight rates and shit like that. So and there is, as I said, one of the filler tracks on the album that we're using as an intro tune for this tour is called "Smoke on the Porker," and it's actually me being interviewed for 2GB radio in Sydney because we got evacuated from the recording studio because there was a fire in the industrial complex next door that was pretty out of control one night, and it was quite a funny interview where the guy asked me what were you doing and how did it happen, and I said, well, the police came to the door and they bashed on the door and told us to get out, and the guy said, well, what did they say to you? And I said,
Get out.
and after he said okay, yeah, so what did you do? And I went, we got out. And so we got a copy of that. That actually went to air on 2GB radio back in '98, and we cut that up into a track. So that's and I still have people walk up to me and go, Pete Cooper, get out.
What?
Big Cooper. So what did you do then? And so that's probably one of the most memorable things that happened during that. But can't really remember any other stories. But it was a good process, and we did some crazy shit. So yeah.
Sure. And did you think that album's your best, bro? Like, or have you got another favorite?
As whole albums go, yeah, it's probably the best. It's the most popular. It's the most eclectic as far as styles and songwriting. That was one where the Porkers have had a lot of members turn over the years, and we had ex members that we've remained friends with. There's some ex members we haven't remained friends with, but so at the time I was co-writing with people in the band and people outside the band, so it sort of brought a mix of styles, and I think that's what gave that album the color. And yeah, and again the timing and the fact that we were playing lots and lots at the time, and it all just came together and it all worked, and it just seems to be the good one.
Yeah, sure. When I was writing these questions down, man, this next question sounded like a good one, but after speaking, I reckon it might be a little bit too deep. So if you don't like it, just fucking hand pass it on and we'll keep going, all right? Yep. So even though a Hot Dog Daiquiri turned 25, the Porkers add another decade on top of that, bro. So you've been around the block a bit. So what are some of the main changes in the music industry since you started, and do you think they're for the better?
Oh, lots of changes. Probably the main one is streaming, and it does have its benefits in many ways in getting yourself out there. But the thing that I see, and I've been meaning to bring this up with people, the change I saw in the music industry was digital downloads became a thing, and suddenly, the artist was going to be in control, and we were taking back our music, and we were going to cut the record labels out, the big guys out that were getting all the money, and we were going to be in control, and it was a new frontier. And then within a couple of years, we just gave it all away to the streaming services, and they've become the record label in a way now, and we didn't make much money out of it, and it's really disappointing the way that's turned out in a way. So I reckon if the streaming services actually paid more, then it'd be a really, really good thing. But currently there's a monopoly on it, and the only thing streaming gets you is, availability to more people and fans. And as much as you hope, people who want to listen to your music will pay for it, 95% of them don't want to.
Yeah, give them the option and they won't.
Will listen and get away with it. The streaming services have basically turned music into the Barley DVD. People will go and buy the shit version and not care. So that's probably my thing. And also too, the fact that we'll go into a recording studio and spend thousands of dollars to make something sound really good, and then everybody's happy to listen to it at a compressed level and shitty quality, which is just a waste, really. It's just like, I've spent $1,000 on this track and it sounds like $1,000, but you're happy to listen to it at $50.
Yeah, the worst price.
Yeah, like it doesn't really matter. I really didn't need to polish it that much and spend that money, because you're going to listen to it on a shit player anyway. So That's what I find frustrating. So,
Yeah.
so I've still got my CD collection and my uh 70s and 80s full stereo set up at home, and I love listening to remastered CDs. That's good.
Good on you. Yeah. Now, when the Porkers came on the scene, mate, like your blending of punk with funk and reggae was relatively untried and new back then, mate. So where did you get the idea from to merge those genres?
Yeah. So, oh, our 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 influence was we're in the reggae and ska, um, and let me think. You know, bands like Madness and the Specials that played ska in the 70s and 80s, but also bands like Fishbone that played a wide range of different styles. Could play a reggae song into a full on metal song. Um, they were a huge influence on us. So, and again, I suppose the ska genre, a lot of bands are formed within the scene, like any kind of music genre, and they're pretty well. This is what we're doing because these are the bands we like. But I kind of found that I ended up with musicians from all walks of life, and everybody brought something different, and that's what became the polka sound. It was um, white rock, surf music, rockabilly, swing. Yeah, there was no real thing. It was sort of like, this is sort of what our sound is, but it also includes this and that and this and that. So yeah, was always happy to do something else. So that's kind of the best way I could describe it. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Now, like you said, there was a few bands overseas doing that, but in Australia it was relatively untried. So, did people gravitate towards it straight away, or did it sort of take them a while to come around because it was so different?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I didn't quite finish the question off, but so again, yeah, bands like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones in the States, no doubt to a certain degree, were doing that sort of thing. I actually traveled to the States in '92, but I'd been in contact with those bands for quite a few years before that, and saw a whole pile of bands and sort of went, okay, I get this now. This is growing. This is going to be big. We need to be on top of this. Um, so when we sort of okay, backtracking again, we were always just a crazy ska band that played everything way too fast. And then I kind of found the direction of, okay, this is how I sort of want it to go. So we started mixing in more stuff, and that was sort of that alienated a few people. Again, in the ska scene, we weren't liked particularly too much before that. We weren't liked anymore after that. But that's when we started. I also saw too in the States, you'd have a bill where you'd have a punk band, you'd have a funk metal band, you'd have a reggae band, you'd have a ska band, there'd be a swing revival band. And I was just like, wow, this is what we've got to do. So we started playing with other bands, and it was when I connected with the Sydney punk scene that we started to find our audience. And in the Sydney punk scene, there was a lot of people that grew up listening to ska, and had got into punk and things and sort of gone onto there, but they weren't sort of necessarily going out and seeing ska bands. So we took it to them, and we started playing with bands like the Blitz Babies and Toe to Toe in Sydney, and that really sort of where things revved up for us, and it was a good formula and it worked. So yeah.
Cool. Did you ever play with Dream Killers much back then?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I think that was one band we kind of missed a lot, and we did play, I think, on a bill with them up in Brisbane in the last 10 or so years. I think that was actually the first time. Oh, I could be wrong. Maybe there was one time back in the '90s where we shared a bill in Brisbane with them, but yeah, never got to play with them down here, I don't think.
Yeah, they're the very first band I ever saw live back when I was fucking 14.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, bro. Well, I'll let you go. So you still got a voice for this weekend, but the Porkers tour does continue on this weekend. And let me get my notes right here. 21st in Frankston, and then you go through Melbourne. So just check out the band's socials if you want to know more.
No, it's the first in Frankston, which is tomorrow, and then the second at the Tote, and then we're Sydney and Newcastle over the next couple of weeks. So
sensational. All right, bro. Well, I hope the rest of the tour goes well and catch you on the other side.
All right, be nice, and see you for Porker's 40th.
Hell yeah! If I'm still kicking. Catch you later, bro.
Cool. Thanks, man.